Packages. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Today, in honor of Civil War coming up, we're going to talk about The Death of Captain America, or rather The Aftermath, Fallen Sun, written by Jeff Loeb. This was a weird book. After Civil War, Captain America dies. Spoilers. But
Well, it's called Fallen Sun. I mean,
we all knew he died. It would happen in 2005.
Yeah.
Like, we get it. Not only that, but...
I just started reading comics last year, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for
sorry
spoiling that.
I spoiled your 11-year-old
No,
story.
Our entire show is spoilers, sorry.
It's true.
Every episode spoilers.
Every episode ruins the book. Also, there's some rumors that Cap might die in this movie. And not like I've heard things, just like it's speculation because it's called Civil War.
Right, and he dies in Civil War.
And he dies in Civil War. Or rather, he dies right after Civil War. There's going to be people who are like, I have issues 1 through 7, and at the end of 7, he does not die. Like, no, technically he doesn't die in Civil War.
Right.
He dies in his own book.
right after it.
But it's
Right
a
after.
part of the Civil War
It's
story.
directly the result. He gives himself up to the authorities, and then on his way to court from Civil War, he is assassinated. Iron Man did not kill Captain America.
No.
His girlfriend Sharon Carter killed him, and he didn't even die. It was a time gun. So
Time gun.
yeah. Well, like, he's on the courthouse steps, and Crossbones, one of his ancient villains, who
Yeah.
will be in Civil War, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was in Winter Soldier, and he's burned, but then they like haul him out, and he's like, I'm still alive. They're making him into the villain, or one of the villains, for the Civil War movie.
That was the guy wearing the mask, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
He's cool looking, he's a cool Captain America. He's one of the cool Captain America villains out of the 3. And one of them is like Hugo Weaving, who will never appear in a Marvel movie
Yeah.
again. So like that's the one you can use. Except it's fucking Red Skull, so you can hire anyone.
Yep.
So yeah, Crossbones is hired by the Red Skull, for whom he works often, and he like takes a sniper shot at Cap, and shoots him like through like the collarbone or something. And then Sharon like runs up to get him, but she was hypnotized by Arnim Zola, and she takes like a special time gun. We don't know that at the time.
Oh.
She literally just goes like, Steve! Boom, boom, boom! And then fucking tucks the gun away, and she's like, oh no! And everyone's like, ah! Because they heard the sniper.
Right, and they just assume
They just
that...
assumed that, like, yeah.
So nobody knows except for her that she did that.
Yes.
Does
Although...
she even remember it? Or
No, she's... Well,
Oh.
she does... Well, she's hypnotized. So
Yeah.
like, after she comes out of her trance, she goes to the bathroom, and she's like, I'm covered in blood, and I have this gun! Oh, no! And then she remembers. And then she goes on, like, the warpath to figure out, like, what happened and why. And it turns out the gun was, like, made by Doctor Doom, and... Like Zola and Red Skull, who's in the body of a scientist, are hatching a nefarious scheme to destroy the American economy and send Steve Rogers into time.
Why don't they just fucking kill him?
Right? Because that's too good. That's too good for Steve fucking
He's gotta be
Rogers.
lost in time.
Yes. So, and it sucks, by the way, because like he is like tumbling through time, and he's like fighting every battle that he's ever fought in World War II, and like all forever. And when there's a reprieve from that, he gets to watch his mom die, or like watch Bucky die,
Oh.
or like he goes to like every.
But it's not so much a time gun, it's like a dick gun.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's
just...
was just a
just an
horrible
asshole.
memories
it's
experience.
it's the hell gun.
Yeah, you go through your
Yeah.
own personal hell.
You understand? Like, if we killed him, he'd go to heaven.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
he would just.
We don't
die.
want that.
No,
Yeah.
but if this is, he'll be in perpetual hell forever.
It's pretty
And
diabolical.
it is. It's only the Red Skull could hatch a scheme so twisted and evil. By the way, it's fun because at one point he's like he's like, oh shit, I'm doing this all over again. This is bullshit. And then at one point, like he's fighting some foe with the Avengers, and he's like, Vision's a robot. He might be able, if I tell him like while everyone's fighting, if I go, Vision, come here really quick. I'm trapped in my own body. Don't remember this until after I'm dead. Like, but listen. And I think that he's like, but I'm not smart enough to do that. Like, I don't know how I can accomplish this. But he's Captain America. He fights his way through it. He soldiers on. But that's neither here nor there. This is a book written by Jeff Loeb, who is now in charge of Marvel TV, but at the time was just a Marvel writer who wrote books like Long Halloween, Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, a lot of books we've done here on Back Issues, Ultimatum.
Ah,
Yeah.
great.
Great.
So good. Check
that
out
book.
our conversation about that. But his son Sam died of bone cancer a couple of years prior to this book, and he like lobbied hard to do a book honoring his son that was using the stages of grief for death.
Okay.
So like thematically, Fallen Son for Jeff Loeb is like a cathartic book dealing with each stage of grief for the loss of his son. But for the Marvel Universe is, you know, everybody dealing with the loss of Captain America.
Right.
And it's all written by Jeff Loeb, but
So what are the 5 stages of death?
well, it's what was it? It's denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance.
Okay. I was gonna look it up, but you already have it.
It's like, what are you doing,
I was
man?
like, "What are you fucking doing on your phone?"
Trying to
Like,
film a show here.
So, what are we talking about?
So you guys are already boring me.
I was like, you got some fucking access to be? But what's cool is that each one is drawn by a different artist who was working at the time. So
Wait, is this broken into chapters?
Yes.
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
So like every issue it was released as 5 issues.
Yes.
Okay.
And each one has like a focus character. Like each one has like
A different character.
a different character who is the focus of the
And
issue.
they're exemplifying that stage of grief.
Exactly.
And it's chronological?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the issues actually take place at the same time
okay.
as each other, but like
Do they cross over or are they just separate
yes.
stories?
Well, they kind of cross over in as much as like okay, Wolverine is our first character and he is Denial, and he and Bucky are like in an old Shield bunker or whatever. And here, you guys can look through it if you want. But like,
Of course, Wolverine's the denial person.
'Cause
He's
he's-
the other person that like is really old and has traveled through time, much like Steve Rogers has.
yeah, well, he hasn't done the Age of Ultron traveling through time, but he has traveled through time as much as he's old.
Yeah,
and has
he's
lived
through
through
a
it.
lot of it.
But he's also he actually has dealt with time and space and shit like
true.
that. He's just like sure, he's dead. Like so
Bullshit, he's dead.
right, like so Iron Man has a political agenda, takes over Shield, and suddenly Captain America's dead. Just as he creates his own Avengers to fight our Avengers. Like no,
I'm willing to bet he's in some weird super serum coma and he's gonna come out of it later with a mullet.
Yeah, actually, you're not far off in as much as Steve Rogers is shot by a time bullet and Batman is shot by time lasers, and both of them are falling through time, fighting their way back to the present. So Wolverine and Bucky, who is Winter Soldier, I keep calling him Bucky because fuck him, but Wolverine and Winter Soldier are like hemming and hawing about how like Wolverine's like he's not dead, and Bucky's like no, he fucking is. I watched him die.
Right.
I was there. And Wolverine's like, yeah, I've been there. I fucking was there when Jean died 3 times.
Yeah.
I killed her one of those
Died.
times.
Well,
So
is she alive now?
no. Well, in this issue,
Yeah.
no, she's still dead.
Kind of my point. So
Yeah.
like, it's a
but
bad,
he's still like
bad example.
probably
Yeah,
be
but
dead.
I bet I could get him back at least. He's only died one time.
Exactly.
Or maybe twice.
Well,
depending on,
he died the first time when he fell in the ice.
Yeah.
That's true, and they did
Yeah.
thaw him out. But
Yeah.
that's ice.
That he didn't
Yeah.
die.
But
He was
Jean
in
Grey, like,
suspended
died.
animation. No, he
And they
died in the
brought- and she
public
came
eye.
back, Yeah.
So Wolverine is Denial, and he's like, so here's my plan. I'm gonna sneak onto a Shield helicarrier that director of Shield Tony Stark is on, and inspect the body and interrogate Crossbones, the apparent assassin. And Bucky's like, well, have a fucking good time. Peace. When he leaves.
I'm leaving the book now.
Yes.
They have a body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then how is he going through
Well,
time?
it's like a
His
soul or
spirit
some
goes
shit.
through time, or his consciousness.
Yeah, so it's his old body that
Yeah.
his like consciousness is reoccupying.
yes,
That's
it's like Sam
incredibly
Beckett.
dumb.
Like his consciousness leaps into his previous bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just say that's like purgatory.
But literally in Captain America Reborn,
hell.
a full body comes. Like he's just like, "Hello." I'm like, "Well, you were dead though."
yeah, we have 2 bodies.
Yeah.
We can have 2 Steves.
Yeah. We don't want 2 Steves because when he dies, when Steve Rogers fucking dies, his body reverts back to its pre-Super Soldier form. That's how like they're kind of like, oh shit, like it
Why?
shrivels up. I guess because it's no longer active by a like working bloodstream / like cerebral cortex. Like who knows?
So like the serum was like keeping him like artificially, like it
Young.
was like Wow, that's
Yeah.
weird.
No, it's preserving.
I mean,
It
that
doesn't
makes
just that he
sense.
aged slower. He kept aging, but like the symptoms of age were like covered up.
yeah, we're kept at bay by the serum.
Wow, that's
It's so
weird.
that if a super soldier is killed in battle, the enemy can't take the serum.
Yeah.
formula.
prove that he was even a super
Yeah,
soldier.
what are all these weak people doing? You guys are in big trouble. Wolverine, now rejected by Bucky, decides like, fuck that, I'll call Daredevil.
Apparently,
who,
or
by the
Daredevil
way,
will just show up.
no, he called him.
Oh, he did
Well,
call him.
okay, he's looking for him.
Ah.
At this point, Daredevil had worked out a deal with Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, to be Daredevil for a while, to kind of like perpetuate the myth
That Daredevil's always around.
that Daredevil's not Matt Murdock. Like, look, I'm here, he's over there, what are you talking about? And in fact, in Civil War, that Daredevil is Danny Rand, but Mark Miller didn't know that or care, so it's, for all intents and purposes, Matt Murdock. But in all the books the Daredevil's in, he's like, I wasn't there, that wasn't me. Like, that was another Daredevil.
Uh-huh.
That was fucking Iron Fist. And in fact, in New Avengers, when Iron Fist joins the New Avengers, he's like, yeah, I was Daredevil, but now I'm going to be Iron Fist because Matt's back, and he's going to be Daredevil. So, in Fallen Sun, Matt Murdock is Daredevil.
So what they're saying is that Daredevil is a better character than Iron Fist and
Yes.
sells more books.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's been proven by money and science.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Wolverine's
So-
not going to team up with Iron Fist to bring back Captain America.
Well, he does in as much as they're on the same New Avengers team, but Iron Fist does nothing until the second volume of New Avengers. And even then, he doesn't really do anything.
He could calm down an entire raging crowd.
Yeah, they don't even remember that shit. But he calls up Daredevil by attacking him.
Of course. So he
Because-
just goes to Hell's Kitchen and just causes trouble.
Yes,
Until
because-
Daredevil shows up.
Yeah, because like Lionel Yu's drawing it, so we get to see a really cool like double page splash of Wolverine versus Daredevil, and it's like really cool. It's cool looking.
Yeah.
It's fucking epic.
Yeah, because they're pigeons.
Well, it's a John Woo shot.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Wolverine's like, I need your help. I'm gonna go sneak onto the shield helicarrier, and I need you because you are a lie detector, and I need to interrogate Crossbones. And Matt Murdock is like, this man is being held. You're not going to kill him while I'm with you. And Wolverine's like, yeah, we'll see.
But this is actually Matt Murdock.
It is Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, no, I'm not going to violate this man's constitutional rights, even though he's being robbed of his constitutional rights by being held without trial.
I'm still not going to release him because he's a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to fight to get him free, but he's not going to, like, help Wolverine assassinate him in his jail cell.
I'm also not going to let you beat him up.
He will, but he doesn't want him to.
Never mind.
So they go to the helicarrier, and they're like, "Wow, this is actually surprisingly easy." And then Doctor Strange's astral form shows up, and he's like, "Yes, it is because I'm shielding you." And Wolverine's like, "Thanks, Doc."
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, well, because Doctor Strange, ashamed of his non-involvement in the Civil War, decides that in solidarity for the loss of Captain America, to join the New Avengers and offer asylum to the displaced superhuman registration dodging New Avengers.
Now that it's too late, I'll help you out.
That's right. Doc is like, okay, good luck. You have 10 minutes
Why?
of shielding, because that's how the magics work.
Oh.
Magic is time!
Well, he's like magic isn't an exact science. Like, I have magically given you 10 minutes of cloakedness.
Right.
So
Wait, magic's not a science, but he can still time it?
yeah.
Well, he
he
did it, and then he calculated maybe how long it would last.
Right.
did
Well, he
he-
did a spell for 10 minutes.
Did he decide to, like, bump up a spell slot, so instead of casting it as, like, a third level, he cast it as a fourth level to extend the duration? Because normally it's, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Rather than, like, extending the aura.
Bitch, he's Super Sorcerer Supreme. 10 minutes is like fucking crazy town. Like, trust me. That is next level shit. Anyway.
In his professional experience as a magician,
Yes.
10 minutes is about how
Sorcerer!
long.
A magician!
Whatever.
Gandalf is a magician compared to Doctor Strange's sorcery.
Oh, yay, Doctor Strange is here! Let's see some illusions!
I am
Nick,
not
you,
some
like-
conjurer of cheap tricks.
You, like, cut a woman in half and shit, and she's hiding in one half of the box.
Yeah, he could cut her in half alright, and send the other half to the fucking moon. Or the dark dimension. Wolverine and Daredevil break into Crossbones' cell. Wolverine interrogates Crossbones. Crossbones is a dick about it. They do this stupid thing where, like, Wolverine puts a gun on, like, next to Crossbones, and, like, forces Crossbones to attack him so that when Wolverine attacks him, it's self-defense, so Daredevil doesn't have a problem with it. And Daredevil's like, what are you doing? So then they get all the information they need, which is none.
Which is not. Yeah, he doesn't know anything.
He doesn't know
There's no
anything.
secret.
Nope.
It's also impressive that
I shot him.
Well, he's like, I shot him, but I didn't kill him, and I don't know anything else because I've been fucking mind wiped. And they're like, all right.
why did Crossbones also try and shoot Daredevil?
Because
Daredevil doesn't have a healing factor.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
'cause
Wolverine
he
will
would
heal
kill
from
him.
those things. Also, I don't think Crossbones and Wolverine have really like fought before. So like Crossbones' belief that Wolverine can die isn't as far fetched as you might imagine.
Yeah, he says die laughing. He thinks he's gonna die. I
Right,
guess.
because he's like, everyone
People
says you're
say that you're invulnerable, but like you're not. Like
but
that's
no one
impossible.
is. I killed
Yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Or at least I helped.
Yeah.
So anyway,
It's all a myth.
then Wolverine's like, get out of here, Daredevil. I got shit to do. And Daredevil's like, okay. And the spell runs out, and Wolverine gets to get to the corpse of Captain America and sniffs him. And he's like, yep, that's Steve. And Iron Man shows up, and he's like, fucking 2 seconds ago, you blipped onto our radars. Did you come here with anybody else? Because Crossbones looks like someone beat the shit out of him. And
You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
exactly.
Hey, you got a lot of bullet holes in you.
And Wolverine's like, fuck you. I just came here to find out if he was dead. And Giant Man, a.k.a. Hank Pym, who I guess is a Skrull right now, but nobody knows that because Bendis didn't tell them yet, is like, excuse me, but do you think you're really gonna leave? I'm not gonna let you stop. Like, get out of here. You know, you're under arrest for violation of the super. And Wolverine's like, oh no, Tony Stark's gonna let me leave. In fact, you're gonna give me a ride. And they're like, why would we do that? And he's like, because then I can go back to my teammates and I can rob them of their hope that Steve is coming back. And they're like, damn him, he's right. And they let him go. Even though, like, they never would do that. They'd be like, yes, you're right. Get into the nearest Quinjet, and it's a fucking holding cell. But no, they let him go.
That's
I mean, like,
pretty bad.
And if they, like, had a scene where Hank was like, fucking really? And Stark's like, the last thing that S.H.I.E.L.D. needs is a war with the X-Men. Like, that would have been enough.
Yeah.
Like, where Wolverine's like, yeah, I'm a badass. I told them what was what, and they fucking followed me. But no. In fact, they were just... Stark's like, no, I'm not going to fight Emma Frost leading the X-Men to fight to free Wolverine from S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I just facilitated the death of Captain fucking America.
And I didn't even try and...
And it wasn't even my fault. And I'm not going to... And I also divided the entire superhero community.
Yeah.
I'm not going to then get into a war with the X-Men. So that was the first one. That was Denial.
Denial, yeah.
All right.
The next one is it's a parallel story of the Mighty Avengers led by Iron Man and the New Avengers led by nobody. I guess Luke Cage, but whatever. And the Mighty Avengers fight Tiger Shark, a crappy Namor villain.
Tiger Shark.
Yes.
Is he
what?
Is he a shark?
No, he's a guy
Oh.
who commands
Sharks?
sea creatures. Well, no, he actually winds up getting control of the Seahorn, which he uses to control, like, great mythic beasts of the deep.
Like the Kraken?
Like a kraken. Not the kraken. And it's really just a giant octopus.
The Kraken is busy. I can only get
The Kraken's
a
my
Kraken.
father.
Yes. So then there's these two stupid parallel stories where, like, the Mighty Avengers are mad. This is anger. They're just so mad, and they're just like, we need a mission to like, punch somebody because we're so sad that Captain America's gone. We're so mad. And they go and they beat the shit out of these sea creatures, and then Namor shows up, and he's like, fucking leave. And they do.
You're beating up my animals.
Yeah! He's like, give me that Seahorn. Get the fuck out of here. And they're like, okay. And the New Avengers...
What did this blue whale ever do to you?
And the New Avengers are trying to have a poker game, but they're all so mad that they can't get the game going. And
I'm sorry. What?
they literally, well, like, that's a thing. Like, the thing that they do here is they're trying to, like, play up an old fun thing that, like, the superheroes will occasionally, a couple of, like, the rough and tumble superheroes will get together and play cards. The Thing is invited to the New Avengers Secret
fine
Mansion.
with that.
Which is the Sanctum Sanctorum, which, of course, has an illusion spell cast over it that looks like Doctor Strange moved after the Civil War. In fact, there's a big silly sign on it that says, another neighborhood Starbucks coming soon. Which is like, oh. Like, you look at, like, if you are an idiot and don't know that Doctor Strange is casting an illusion spell, you're like, really? Like, this whole thing split up the superheroes, killed Captain America, and Doctor Strange quit, and now the Sanctum's gonna be a fucking Starbucks? Like, god damn it.
Yeah, but it'll be the best Starbucks ever.
It'll be a cool building, at least. But, you know, of course Iron Man's like, no. And, like, he sends people in there in a previous story, and it's, you know, it looks like it's abandoned, but, you know, they use Brother Voodoo to try and counteract the spells, and Doctor Strange is like, it's fucking Brother Voodoo, I got this. Which is hilarious, because later, Brother Voodoo will become Sorcerer Supreme.
Really?
Yeah, and then fucking die, because he sucks at it. Yeah, the New Avengers trying to play cards, and, like, that's the line. The line is, let's just play cards. Because they have a seat left for Steve for when he comes back. Aww. And Spider-Man's wearing his black costume because he's in mourning for Cap, and because he's sad that Aunt May's in the hospital and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because one more day is coming, but it hasn't happened yet.
Why is he playing cards if Aunt May's in the hospital?
Because he's trying to win money for fucking bills,
right? No, because he's still a superhero, and like he's at the base, and he's like, "What's the mission today?" And they're like, "We're gonna play cards." He's like, "You know what? I need to fucking take my mind off of things."
Okay.
So like he tries, but his anger takes over, and he's just like, "Duh! Like I just don't want to. I don't want to fucking do this." And Wolverine shows up, and he sits in Steve's chair, and Spider-Man's like, "That's for Steve," and he's like, "You won't be needing it." Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man like attacks him, and Wolverine's like, "Get the fuck off me!" And then Spider-Man's like, "I gotta go home. I don't have time to play cards with you assholes. I got a family." And he leaves. And then Wolverine's like, "I'm gonna tail him just to make sure that nothing happens to him. He's too mad." And they're like, "Good fucking idea."
Because we don't want you here.
Yeah. So Wolverine leaves.
You always cheat at cards.
So Wolverine leaves to tail Spider-Man, and that's that story. For me, it's the weakest one. Well, because the Mighty Avengers fight these sea creatures.
They're just fighting sea creatures the whole time.
The whole time, and they're like, "Where's the Sentry?" And they're like, "The Sentry has therapy, so he can't help us." And so it's an actual fight. Then the Sentry, who's basically Marvel's schizophrenic Superman, shows up, and he's like, "Okay, I threw the monster into the sun. How's that?" and then they're like, and it's funny. They actually have a funny moment where they're like, "Thought you had an hour," and Sentry's like, "It's a 45-minute hour." And then they're like, "Oh," and they bill you for the full hour, and he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I hate that." And I'm like, "That's funny."
You're the Sentry. You just beat up the therapist.
Right. Yeah, it's a mess. So then the next story.
So he kills some sea creatures.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he doesn't throw them into the sun, but he throws them in like the center of the ocean.
Space. It looks like they're in space.
Maybe well, he throws them into space, and then Ares, God of War, who's now suddenly a member of the Mighty Avengers, is like, "Aha!" and like starts killing.
I assume that's the night sky over the ocean.
I mean, it could be space though, because like Sentry's so strong.
I mean, it looks like he throws them into the moon.
That's just so we can illustrate that it's nighttime.
It's going up.
Yeah. Well, the Earth is curved, so he's.
Because that's the ocean right there.
He's like he's throwing
and
him
that's
into
the
orbit.
horizon.
But no,
I see. Yeah.
Look, you can see the arc for the
it's
water
coming,
trail.
it's coming back down.
Yeah, he's coming down. He's coming down. But then Ares like blah, because Ares is nothing if not like impetuous, and he's just like, "Yeah, like aha, war." He's the god of fucking war.
Right,
And he's like, "I've joined a Marvel team. I'm gonna fucking kill some shit." And he's just such an idiot. I hate Ares so much. Thankfully,
I hate him in Injustice.
That's a different. That's Ares, God of War, Wonder Woman villain. This is Ares, God of War, member of the Mighty Avengers in Marvel.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So the next one is bargaining.
Okay.
And it's a resurrected Clint Barton, thanks to House of M, has been secretly like kind of hanging out in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
And so House of M happened, and then Civil War happened, and Clint Barton had nothing to do with it, and he just kept kind of fucking under the radar.
Right.
Yeah.
But he comes out of the woodwork now, and he shows up at the Avengers Mansion, and he's like, I heard Cap's dead, I need answers, I'm going to tell everybody I'm alive again. So he basically like goes to Avengers Mansion and starts some shit. Iron Man shows up, and he's like, you know, the mansion, while it is still destroyed and has no one living in it, all the sensors and shit are still active.
Yeah.
So, like, it scanned him.
Okay.
And it sent a report back to Tony's armor that's like, Clint Barton is at the fucking mansion. And so Tony shows up personally, and he does a scan, and it's him, and he's like, I don't believe it. So he knocks Clint out, and brings him to the helicarrier where they do more tests on him.
That's reasonable, because the last time someone who was dead showed up at the
Avengers
Avengers
Mansion.
It blew up
the fuck
and
up.
killed another
Good
character.
old Jack of Hearts.
Yeah. So they go to the helicarrier, and the whole that whole issue is just like, you're a marksman and blonde. Maybe you could be Captain America.
Oh.
Oh, he's got the shield.
Like, because he takes Clint into a darkened room in the helicarrier, and you're like, oh god, this is the room that Wolverine was in when he sniffed the body. And Barton says something like, are you going to show me a dead body? I've seen lots of those. And he's like, no. And it's like, it's where he keeps Cap's shield. And he's like, no, I sent a fake to the Smithsonian, and I got another one someplace else, but this is the real one.
Is it broken?
No. It's just, it's just lighting.
Okay.
It gets cracked in Fear itself, but then they forget about that shit. Stark is basically like, you want to take it for a spin? And Barton is like, kind of. So they go up on the deck, and Barton throws it, and it comes back. And Stark's like, okay, that's it. You're my Captain America now. And there's this obnoxious line in it where he's like, 73 SHIELD agents tried to do that, and like 72 of them are in the hospital, and you don't want to know what happened to the other guy. Let's just say I'm glad I'm wearing a helmet. Herpaderp. Like, what? People killed themselves? Like, is that what you're implying? Is that like men died trying to fucking throw Cap's shield? You killed agents of SHIELD?
No.
By throwing a fucking frisbee?
I killed an agent.
Actually, I think there's more than one, but like, fucking what?
Maybe they just had concussions.
Maybe, but but the other guys were in a hospital.
Yeah.
He starts at the hospital, and he's like, but the other guys, you don't even want to know. Like, what? They cut their own heads off? Is that what you're fucking implying? How weird. And they're like, ho, 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 ho. Like, it's fucking funny. Like,
Well, it's only 4.
way to legitimize the fucking Superhuman Registration Act, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
we're gods standing above these fucking ants, herpaderp. Even when we fucking fight for them, we're still letting them die, trying to pretend to be us. Wow. They get like a priority signal. Some shit's brewing, time to be superheroes. And he's like, bring the shield. In fact, put on the Captain America costume and give it for a spin. So, Young Avengers, Patriot, and Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, are fighting Firebrand, who's like a lame-ass fire villain. Who cares? It's just a villain they need to be able to beat.
He's an evil Human Torch.
Exactly. Yeah. And they beat him up, and then Iron Man shows up.
Okay.
And Iron Man's like, okay, kids, you're under arrest. Because you helped Captain America, and you won't fucking come with us. And they're like, get out of here, let's go. And fucking Kate Bishop hits Iron Man with an EMP arrow.
Nice.
And I think Black Panther makes it for him. Who, by the way, was neutral in the Civil War. But
In this Civil War.
In the Civil War. Yeah, not in the movie Civil War, no. Right. So, Iron Man's out of commission, and then Clint Barton as Captain America shows up. And the two of them basically say, like, you're disgusting.
How dare you put on that costume?
Like,
yeah.
I can't believe you. I don't know who you are or who you think you are, but you're gross. And, like, that better not be his shield you're holding. Because if it is, then you're worse than garbage.
Ooh.
And he's just like, ugh. And in fact, he goes like, well, is it any worse than like dressing up as Hawkeye? And she's like, fucking Captain America told me I could be Hawkeye in honor of his dead friend.
Yeah, well, that wasn't his right.
Yeah, no, he basically
Who told him he could do that?
He did not. He was
Certainly
like,
not Hawkeye.
they're like, that's weirdly specific.
I have a strange feeling that if Hawkeye were here, he would tell you it's not cool.
Yeah. No, he is completely okay, by the way. He's like, fair enough. And this would begin, incidentally, like, this future partnership between Clint Barton and Kate Bishop, where they're both Hawkeye. Right. He's like, no, like, you're Hawkeye, and so am I.
Alright, but when someone calls out Hawkeye...
Yeah, which one of us
Who
should
answers?
respond?
Fucking whatever, who cares? Whichever one of us is closer.
Both of us. It'll be hilarious. Every time.
Every single time.
It will not get old.
Nope, and it does. So, Barton lets them go.
Okay.
Fucking, and it's awful. It's disgusting, by the way. Like, they're dressing him down, and he's like, no. Dressed as Captain America, like, in his dead friend's costume, holding his fucking symbol of hope, and he's like, oh, and then fucking Iron Man just goes, great job, Cap, let's go! Like, he's bargaining with, like, he's like, yay, I didn't kill Captain America, see, he's right there! Like, ooh, this is really gross and weird.
Don't do that.
Oh, I thought it was like he was all pissed off at Barton, like, great job, Cap!
No.
Don't let the fuckers go!
Yeah,
No,
it's
they're
more
still
like,
there.
No, he hasn't let them go yet. And then he goes like, okay, kids, you can go. And he's like, it's not your call to make, Cap. And he's like, let them go.
Am I Captain America or aren't I?
Yeah, and then he's like,
You just called me Cap.
Yeah.
So I think that means I can tell them they can go.
exactly. And so he like lets them go in a string of hypocritical decisions that Iron Man will make for his tenure as director of Shield, and basically Barton gives him the shield back, and he's like, "Fuck you," and he leaves.
Does that mean I can arrest you now?
So the next one is depression. Spider-Man's sad. He goes to visit Uncle Ben's grave. Rhino is there visiting his dead wife's grave, but Spider-Man's like, oh no, Rhino's here, and then fights him, and then pushes him into his dead wife's gravestone, which breaks.
Oh.
Rhino gets really pissed, and then Spider-Man and Wolverine team up and beat the shit out of Rhino. The end. Fucking what the crap. Spider-Man is a
sucks.
colossal douche nozzle.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's awful.
Fuck you, Rhino. Fuck you for having feelings and emotions.
He didn't
about
even,
your
well, I
family.
didn't even care.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. He was at the grave of somebody. He must be starting some shit. Never mind the fact that by the Rhino can't take his fucking Rhino suit off. As we've established before,
Yeah.
motherfucker can't poop.
Well, he can.
Well, he can.
But it's stuck in there.
It's just
Yeah.
gross.
And but he brought like flowers and stuff. Like he's clearly there in mourning, you dipshit.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yeah, but he stole those flowers.
probably. But
This is
anyway,
my graveyard. You can't come here.
Yeah.
Rhino.
also it's once again another case of everyone who ever mattered is buried in the same fucking gravesite
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one graveyard.
for all of
In all
New
of
York.
New York.
Manhattan. Yep.
So
It's a really depressing place.
yeah, because it's huge.
Whoa, is Hulk actually here?
No, Spider-Man is fighting Rhino, and he's remembering the first time that he and Captain America teamed up, and it was to fight the Hulk.
Ah. Okay.
And then Wolverine shows up, and he's like, "Hey, kid, and, like let's kick his."
Hey, I'm in this book too.
Yeah, actually, Spider-Man kicks the shit out of Rhino, and then Wolverine shows up and is like, Spider-Man's like, "Fuck off!" And then he chases Spider-Man to the fucking Brooklyn Bridge where Gwen Stacy died.
Is this after Wolverine was tailing him?
Yes,
Like
it's
this
while,
is all in
yeah, it's
order.
while it
Okay.
happened. So they go to the graves, or they go to the bridge. Spider-Man remembers that Gwen Stacy died there, and he's talking to Wolverine, and Wolverine's like, like Captain America, like he says something like, when Cap wanted to form the new Avengers, people weren't sure about you, but Cap stood up for you, and that means something. Spider-Man's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You joined the new Avengers after me. Like, what a bunch of bullshit. It's
Yeah,
just
but people told me about it.
it's just a weird conversation where like Wolverine tries to make him feel better,
Yeah.
but fails at it, and then Wolverine's like, "All right, kid, you want to know about death? You want to know about fucking like pain and misery? It doesn't get better. It just sucks. And like eventually you get used to it, and then a song will play or a smell will happen, and then it'll open the wound right back up again." And it's like he's like, "Yeah, I'm responsible for the death of my Uncle Ben, my girlfriend Gwen Stacy. I killed your friend Charlemagne when we teamed up." Like, I know about death. But he doesn't say that. He's just like, "Oh, thanks, Wolverine." And then he leaves. And you're like, what? It's a weird scene because it's
Yeah.
depression, and Spider-Man is hopelessly depressed. He's like, "I can't handle all this." But, like, he's been so depressed in everything. It's like, Jesus. Like, how about give me something new? But at this point, clearly, Loeb is also using the book to exercise some demons of his own.
Right.
So-
Well, it's like, I gotta put Spider-Man in one of these books. What's the most appropriate book for Spider-Man to be in?
Depression. But
Bah.
Wolverine isn't the one to teach Spider-Man
No,
about how to
that's
deal with loss.
Dumb. Although Wolverine is pretty depressed too.
Yes,
so-
actually the two of them could write a book together about how to deal with dead ex-girlfriends. But we don't get that
sarcasm
book.
And alcohol?
I guess, yeah.
Apparently.
So then the next
Is
one...
the last panel just Rhino on the ground crying?
No, fuck him.
And then
Yeah,
being
fuck
like,
him. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, we never
I
get...
don't care about his
no,
wife.
At no point did they, like, stop fighting, go like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then the two of them work together to
Yeah, we
rebuild.
really shouldn't have done that. That wasn't cool, man.
Yeah, no, they
no,
break
fuck 'em.
his wife's gravestone
no,
and
he's
then
putting
leave
the
it
pieces
there.
back together and he's just crying.
Yeah, that would be the end of the
That would be an
book.
amazing
Yep.
final panel.
Just Wolverine and Spider-Man being like,
Spider-Man's a
yeah.
Like, they walk off of this and he's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Stupid. The next one's Acceptance. It's Captain America's funeral. The new Avengers, or the Secret Avengers, or whatever, the Superhuman Registration Act Dodgers Avengers are not there. Everyone else is. There's this hilarious moment where, like, Thing and Johnny are at the funeral, and Tony Stark is going up to the podium, and like, you think he's drunk? And he's like, Jesus, man. And then Stark...
I would ask that question because
it's true.
The balls to get up for that funeral.
I know.
Jesus.
And fucking Stark just says something like, wasn't supposed to be like this, and then just leaves. And things like, Jesus. And then Sam Wilson, a.k.a. Falcon, a.k.a. now Captain America, says an actual eulogy where he's like, Captain America represented America, and he was great, and he fucking fought for what was right, and, like, he had friends, and here they are, and, whatever. Like, he gives a nice eulogy. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to the new Avengers, and they're, like, watching it on TV, and, like, we should have gone. And they're like, we would have been arrested.
Yep.
And it's like, really? Like, you think Stark is that much of a dick? And they're like, yes. And
actually, yes. Especially in this book.
Yeah, and then at the end, they go to the Arctic. And a couple of the members of the Mighty Avengers, including Iron Man, are there with a casket. They bury, by the way, Captain America in Arlington Cemetery. Mm. But...
what, they're going to freeze a casket in the Arctic?
Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Iron Man go to the Arctic with Steve Rogers' actual body and his actual shield. And they call Namor, who found Captain America in the first place in the ice where he wasn't, like, where he was frozen, and they basically put him back
in the ice.
Yeah.
Maybe
Namor's
we'll
like,
get better.
No, it's just like, this is where we found him, and this is where Captain America died the first time, and like this is where he'll go, and so they bury him there, and then there's a fake in the Arlington Cemetery.
Right.
It's just a cool... I love that moment.
We just killed a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, put him in Captain America's casket.
Yeah, well, we just used one of the ones that was decapitated.
You remember the ones I was saying, like, you don't even want to know?
Yeah, they're in his body.
Yeah,
they're in a couple of phony baloney Captain America caskets that we're going to sprinkle all over the country.
We took a couple, we were just building caps.
A couple of, like, low-funded states are like, we purchased Captain America's corpse, and we put him in a thing. And it's like, yeah, sure, why not?
You'll die for your country, too.
Yeah.
Dye your hair, buzz it, beef them up a little bit.
Yep. No, you can't beef them up. The fucking serum went away.
Yeah, but you don't tell people that.
It's true.
Why is his head cut off?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Oh, God, is that one the open casket? Ah, shut it.
Close it. Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Well, when they gave him the serum, he was actually dead, and they sewed the head on, and then gave him the serum, and then the head reattached itself, and so forth.
Yeah,
so when the serum wore off, his head fell off.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's a Frankenstein?
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Captain America's a horror show. Keep it a secret, though. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
That's a little secret from me to you, from S.H.I.E.L.D. By the way, you tell anybody, you're dead. Fallen Son Captain America, dealing with death. I've heard a lot of people who have, like, had to deal with death find it as a really, really helpful tool.
Okay.
Clearly Jeff Loeb used it, and it worked really well. I'm sad this doesn't collect a lot more. Like, there's a Bendis issue called The Confession, which I adore. It's the best book from Civil War. It was back when Bendis really wrote great. Mm-hmm. And it was Captain America when he was first arrested from Civil War, and his speech to Iron Man, or his confession to Iron Man,
yeah, and
then Iron Man's confession to Steve after he's dead.
Okay.
And it's really cool. Fallen Son Captain America, written by Jeff Loeb. It's really, really competently written. Some characters are out of character, just like everyone in Civil War. But I think it's a solid book, and it's a great, like, grief counseling tool.
Well, I mean, especially if you've lost someone recently, I imagine there's a lot of relatable stuff.
Oh yeah,
in the
well,
book.
You're literally going through the stages as you're reading it, and that's pretty cool. But it's also highlighting, like, a really, really interesting chapter in the death of Captain America and the fallout of Civil War. So, so who knows what we'll see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe if and when Captain America does die. This would springboard a whole bunch of new stuff, like Bucky becoming Captain America, and Captain America coming back to life, and there being two Captain Americas, and the Mighty Avengers versus the New Avengers, and the Superhuman Registration Act, like, literally, like, ripping a hole in the fucking Marvel Universe, and, like, Dark Reign coming out of it. Like, a lot of shit, like, spirals out of that, and in a very organic way, which I really, really appreciate. Then World War Hulk kind of shows up and fucking throws a monkey wrench in it. Like, everything has to take a goddamn back seat, because Hulk's here, and punch. Anyway, that was fucking bizarre. But, anyway.
Do you think they might give Falcon Captain America? If he does die
if he dies in the MCU? I think, and it's only because I know all the inner workings, Sebastian Stan, who's playing Winter Soldier, has a 7-picture deal, and he's been in 2.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's going to be Cap. They also have a precedent for him. Anthony Mackie likes being in the MCU, and like Nick Fury, will probably be in anyone they call him for. So, whereas we got Sebastian Stan for 7 pictures, fucking make him Captain America for 6 pictures. We'll call Anthony Mackie when he's done. Which
I'm sure he won't be doing anything.
Right, we'll call him when he's done. He'll be happy to do it, and that's probably true because he was an Ant-Man and he was delightful. And I hope that he's as much fun in Civil War. I know he's going to play a big part, and it's going to be really fun. I kind of wish they would skip the Bucky years. Just be like, fuck Bucky. I'm sick of him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Right? It's just... And some people loved him. They thought he was a really cool character. He was a very interesting icon during this era. When they made Bucky Captain America, Alex Ross designed his costume. He had black in the suit, and he carried a fucking gun. And everyone's like, whoa! Cap is carrying a gun? And it's yeah, you know what? Captain America was a soldier. He used a gun in war. Yeah. But, now he's, jumping over...
Now he has the shield. Well, the shield is meant to protect.
But he's jumping over rooftops in the middle of, New York City, whoa. He's not a goddamn deputy. He's a cop.
Right.
It was a weird era in his time where he's of course I carry a gun. How am I going to kill my bad guys?
Right.
What, am I going to throw a shield into their bodies?
These are murderers and stuff.
Yeah, I'm dealing with heavy shit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, after Bucky became and stopped being Captain America, they never had anything better for him. Bringing Bucky back was a risky move, and it worked. Winter Soldier's a cool character. It's a cool era in Captain America.
But they didn't do anything?
No. And then, they did. That was great. And that really worked. And it proved that you can do shit with canon that you previously decreed you couldn't. You can't bring back Jason Todd. You can't bring back Bucky Barnes. You can't bring back Uncle Ben or Gwen Stacy. You can't do this shit because A, it ruins the property, ruins the mythos. But B, you can't. There's no good story worth wrecking or worth mucking with the mythos. And they're no, look. And it's shit, Brubaker fucking proved them wrong. Then he became Captain America, and Brubaker kept it going and made him Captain America. It's a new Captain America for a new age. And it's still a man at a time. It's still a man from the past. But he fought in the Cold War. He's been around a little longer.
But now what do you do with him?
But after you bring back Steve Rogers, what do you do with him now? And they made him the man on the wall after Original Sin, and no one cared. Legitimately, nobody gave a fuck.
I'd have been fine with that.
The book was canceled, and nobody gave a shit. They brought him back into Avengers Standoff, and again, they were I thought you were the man on the wall, and he's yeah.
Yeah. What does that even mean?
And what frustrates me is that every time Bucky appeared since then, every person who talks to him says, "You were the man on the wall." I'm that's a term that you use to describe what he does.
Stop trying to make the man on the wall happen. It's
not going to happen. It did. They tried to make it happen, and no. So, the Anthony Mackie, or rather the Sam Wilson era of Captain America is proven to be shorter than Bucky's, but I would like them to kind of skip him. But for my own personal nerddom, I'm
you need to see it a little bit.
Do it all.
Yeah. Maybe they can do it better. Maybe they can.
Easily. They have years of stories they can distill into maybe one solid fucking movie.
Yeah.
Civil War. Civil War will probably be pretty damn good compared to the mess that book turned into. But it won't. But you will miss a few things. You miss the Confession. You miss Fallen Sun. You'll miss Frontline, which was really cool. The Civil War from the perspective of news people.
They could work it in a couple shots, maybe.
Yeah, but you can't get a story from that perspective.
Yeah, probably not.
There should be a show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. take a fucking backseat and do a goddamn Frontline show.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that'd be nice, because I don't know if that would work for a movie.
No, I wouldn't want to watch.
Who's your protagonist going to be?
Well, it's Jessica Jones and J. Jonah Jameson and shit. It's about those people. Ben Urich, but fucking not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. This was Fallen Sun, The Death of Captain America. You can pick up a copy in the description box below this video, and we'll see you guys next week with another episode of Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Thanks a lot for watching.